Hey there, it's Jonathan Edwards, and welcome to another athlete-specific episode. This week, I want to talk about smart goals and smart habits. Now, parents may have heard of SMART goals. Some athletes that I deal with have heard of SMART goals. It's been very popular kind of in the business world to set a SMART goal. Well, SMART goals are specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're realistic, and they're timely or time bound. Now, when I first heard about SMART goals, I immediately got my back up because when I went to the Olympics, that wasn't necessarily a realistic goal to a lot of people. It was specific, right? The Olympics, it's pretty specific. It was measurable, either I was going or I wasn't. It was attainable. Now, what happens when you start getting into the A and the R of SMART goals is it's up for debate, right? As the athlete, you think it may or may come true, but if you share that goal with others, you're immediately met with their psyche, their level of thinking, their belief in themselves, their belief in you. So I didn't necessarily like the attainable goal part of it. The realistic part as well. Nothing amazing has happened in this world that has been realistic, right? Things that seem unrealistic are only realistic when they come true. And until that happens, then the person trying to make that goal happen is met with, just bombarded with doubt from other people. Think of Tesla, think of PayPal and eBay and Google. Like, there's famous stories abound about all these great, supposedly unrealistic, unattainable goals that actually happen. Right? And timely. So the Olympics is timely. It's coming whether I was ready for it or not. And for a lot of athletes, their goals are like that. They're going to compete, they're trying to make a team, or they're trying to compete in world championships, or maybe an event in the future. Well, that event is coming to them whether they are ready or not. So in the business world, a SMART goal, we put an end cap on things so we know when it's going to happen, and that we don't keep pushing out this thing that we want to have happen too long. Like, for instance, I've been working on a book, and I keep pushing the end date. Well, it's not ready. It's not ready. It's not ready. Well, someday I'm going to make it ready. What I try to get athletes to focus on, and businesses and corporations that I talk to, is not to focus on SMART goals, because a lot of times those goals are out of the control of the person involved. But if we set smart habits related to those goals, then we can make things come true. So let's take a look at that. So a specific habit in relationship to a goal is something that is going to help you move towards that. So again, using the book analogy, I wanted to write a book. The specific habit I wanted to create was that I was going to write every day. I was going to write something every day. That was specific, okay? I was going to write, it didn't matter if it was 1 word or 1,000 words. My goal was to do 1,000 words a day, all right? So, but that's specific. For instance, like a team, let's say the Patriots trying to win another Super Bowl. Well, it's a lot of that goal is out of the control of the individual athlete. Yet what they can focus on is their goals, in their habits in relationship to attaining that goal for the team. So, for instance, the guys on the offensive line, who weigh like 300 pounds, they may need to lose a little or gain a little depending on what their individual goals are. So their habits might be, hey, they've got to eat an extra 1,000 calories a day, right? So that's specific. It's measurable. Did they eat the 1,000 calories or not? All right? Is it attainable or achievable? Well, yeah, they got to just, either get a couple steaks in them or get a couple extra baked potatoes, whatever it is. Is it attainable? Sure, right? Now, is it realistic? Yeah, it's realistic. They can do that, right? What this does when you shift from the SMART goal to the SMART habits is the A and the R. the attainable and the realistic that is up for debate from other people is immediately taken away, right? So when I look back on my Olympic career, when I shared with people that I was going to go to the Olympics, I was immediately met with ridicule. People would say like, "Oh, you're crazy. You're nuts. That's ridiculous. Who would ever do that? Why would you want to do that? I would never want to do that." Well, it didn't matter because I wanted to do that. Now, if I had shared with somebody instead of, "Hey, I want to go to the Olympics," but "Hey, I'm going to work out 5 days a week," people would be like, "Hey, that's great. Okay, cool. Go for it, man." If I was trying to get like 2 extra pull-ups, and my goal is to get 2 extra pull-ups, people are like, "Hey, that's cool. You can do that." Well, my habit is I'm going to do pull-ups every day for a year. Okay. And people are like, "Well, kind of weird, but go for it." It just takes it all out of it. So as an athlete, when we focus on smart habits, it makes the goals we want to have happen realistic, right? And it makes them seem more attainable, right? Now that timely thing is also really easy. When you set habits to reach those goals, then like, okay, every day I'm going to read 100 pages, right? That's timely. I'm going to do it every day. If I don't do it today, I know I didn't do it. Bad for me, whatever. I'm going to go keep on those habits. Right now I've got a habit. I want to weigh 175 pounds. Okay. So that means I got to lose about 15 pounds. Well, what am I going to do that? Well, every day I have habits in place that are going to help me reach that goal. Things like not eating or drinking sugar, right? Things like keeping my calories below 1,500 calories a day. Those types of things. Those are all the habits that are going to help me reach that goal, and that goal is then a byproduct of all those habits. Okay? So if you're an individual athlete, this is easier typically because you can set these habits, and the only person that you really have to agree with is yourself. But I recommend you get around a coach, someone who you respect. It doesn't necessarily have to be a coach, but someone who you can get feedback from properly to set those habits for that next goal that's coming up, right? So let's say I wanted to run a marathon in a month, okay? And I haven't run in years. Well, that might be an unrealistic goal, but if I just set down all the habits with which to try to get that done, I just might be able to do that if I set that goal with somebody I respect, all right? And I set the habits. Now, I may set the goal of trying to run a marathon in a month, set all the habits that we think are going to make it happen, right? And then miss that goal, but then I just need to adjust the habits, and maybe the timeline is a little bit different the next go around, okay? So I'm a big fan of setting smart habits and not necessarily smart goals, just because habits are really easy to track, and when you share those habits with other people, they don't necessarily have the same resistance as when you share that big, audacious goal with those people, all right? So what did you think about this? What do you set? Do you set goals? Do you set habits? Have you ever set a goal? Some people don't, right? Have you ever really thought about it like this? Do me a favor, leave me a comment below. And by all means, you can also email me or leave a comment on the Contact Us page on the website, but I want to hear your thoughts, okay? So don't set smart habits or smart goals. Set smart habits. See you next week. Cheers.